Namaste and welcome to Live, Love, Engage. I am Gloria Grace Rand, and today I have a extra special guest on the program today. This is an amazing gentleman. His name is Tyrone Smith, and he's a nationally recognized lecturer and motivational speaker. But you might also know him from football because he used to play in the National Football League, the NFL, here in the United States. And now he has dedicated his life to empowering youth and young adults. He's
Yeah.
got a nonprofit organization called First and Goal, which provides programs and services to enhance academic, social, and moral development, because he believes every life has purpose and everyone has the opportunity to do a greater good in the lives of others, which is awesome. I definitely share that. I share that belief. He has implemented successful youth development programs throughout the states of Texas and California, and also created the Journey Beyond Dreams college experience program that's helped thousands of youth gain the confidence needed in themselves and their abilities to succeed and graduate from college. So that is impressive. So first off, I just want to welcome you to Live, Love, Engage. Thank you so much for being here.
No, Gloria, thanks for having me. I'm definitely looking forward to just connecting with you, talking about the life, the story, and the journey.
Yeah, well, that's a good place to start because I know that part of your journey has included also writing a book, and
Yes.
which is called Outside the Huddle: Steps to Developing a Game Plan for Life.
hmm
Understand that this tells a little bit about your personal journey. So what brought you from, where did you begin? How did you become, a professional football player, which is vast minority of people get to ever do that. And then now to where you are today and being a speaker and a leader really in your community.
Man, so number one, Gloria, that's like a super loaded question, right? Right,
I
right.
know. So we'll just take it one step at a time. Let's
Okay.
do that.
So really, when I think of really about the book and my life, my journey, I want to create a product by way of writing a book that pretty much will be like life lasting in regards to beyond today. Because I've done like a ton of public speaking, and people will ask me all the time, like, have you written a book? Because we want to know a little bit more about you beyond the presentation, like after you speak and
Right.
after you go, what more is it to Tyrone Smith? And so what I did, I created and wrote Outside the Huddle: Steps to Developing a Game Plan for Life, where I talk about 8 specific practical principles I've applied in my life, going back from a childhood kid that was picked on, antagonized, and bullied to where I actually am today. So I talk about these 8 practical principles in a relevant way, based on experiences that I actually went through and how I applied those particular principles to my life and how others can actually do the same. Because being a kid that wasn't actually expected to do anything or be anything in regards to my life and my goal and my journey, with everything I've dealt with and overcame, I thought it would be a good thing to actually write a book to actually tell the story.
Yeah, well, I think that is a really good thing. So tell us a little bit about actually then, how did you, what was your life like growing up, and what prompted you to be able to be a success? Because like I said, I know, I don't know what the statistics are, but I know that the chances of someone being able to make it into the NFL are really extremely small. So you must have been able to do something amazing with probably I have a feeling, not only your God-given talents, but probably some mindset
Right.
work as well.
Yeah, definitely mindset, because when you think about everything that individuals deal with and go through, you have to have some intestinal fortitude. You have to be mentally strong to overcome based on whatever you experience in life. And when I think about like my life and my story, Glory, I was like um, the youngest 3 boys. My
Mm.
mom didn't finish middle school. My dad didn't finish high school. My oldest brother's been in and out of prison. My middle brother, he was that kid at school that always gave in the peer pressure. Whatever his friends encouraged him to do that was negative, my middle brother would do. And so here it is. I'm the youngest of 3 boys.
Mm.
I'm alone in the corner trying to do what's right, but yet my brothers are getting all the attention based on their negative behavior.
Mm.
So, and then I grew up in the inner city of Houston. I wasn't expected to succeed. And so to overcome everything I've had to deal with as a person, to accomplish a lot I'm truly grateful and thankful for. But at the same time, I had to embrace the process. And I had to realize and know that there were things that I wanted to do with my life, but yet I had to realize and know those things could only become possible if I changed my mindset and my perspective based on what others felt and thought about me as a person. Because I was picked on, antagonized, bullied, all these different things. I had low self-esteem. I had no confidence. I was an introvert. And so when people see on social media and all the different things I'm actually doing right now, they're like, dude, you're not the same person that you were like in middle school and in high school.
Oh, I can definitely relate to that because I was the same way. I was bullied in school, and middle school especially it's the worst time I think for just about anybody. But it was really bad. But I wanted to ask you, did you have anybody in particular in your life who helped you along the way? You know, like a mentor, somebody who really who encouraged you. Besides, I'm sure hopefully your parents did, but to be able to maybe provide that extra incentive to be on a path that didn't lead you into jail, for instance.
Yeah, I mean, when I think about like, influence, a sociologist said that the average person will actually impact 10,000 people in a lifetime. That's a lot, right?
Wow.
But if you actually are intentional in regards to your leadership, your role, and your position in regards to making a difference, I truly feel and believe you'll impact more than 10,000 people in a lifetime. And so when I think about influencers and people of impact, I think about, of course, my mom and my dad, they were instrumental in my life. But I think about my fifth grade teacher, Ms. Williams. She was an individual that really challenged and encouraged me as a young person. When I grew up in the inner city of Houston, Gloria. So I grew up in Third Ward, drugs, prostitution, so many different things going on, violence. And so my family moved in the mid-'80s to the suburbs of Houston, to Missouri City. And so this is our first time getting a home. We're in our first home, front yard, backyard. We got grass. I'm rolling around the grass all the time. But I moved to this new environment, this new school, this new place. But yet I still miss the community that I left with all my family and friends.
Oh, sure.
And I remember in the fourth grade, my fourth grade teacher, Miss Shaver at the time, was doing warm-ups with the students. She was doing multiplication and division. And to me, it's like she was speaking a foreign language. Seriously, in the fourth grade, I didn't know my multiplication or division. And so it's like she was speaking a foreign language. And the other kids started laughing at me. And they was like, man, this new kid, he's from the hood. He's a ghetto kid. He don't know his multiplication and division. So they're picking on me. They're antagonizing me. And so here it is. I moved to a lower level class. And in the lower level class, the teacher, she just let the kids just continue to really beat me down. And so I'm already feeling less than a person.
Sure.
I'm already trying to figure life out as a fourth grader. And so how did I deal with it? I dealt with it in an unhealthy way. So I started fighting all the time. If you said anything about me, I would fight. Not that I won all the fights, but I would fight all the time. And in the fourth grade, I went to the office over 50 times.
Oh, man. Yikes.
50 times. Get to the fifth grade, Ms. Williams, she sat me down, Tyrone Smith. I know your story. I've heard about your journey. I read the reports. She said, number one, I need you to respect yourself. I need you to respect me. And she said, I want you to realize, no, I'm here to help you. Anytime you need help or assistance, know that I am here to help you. And she looked me in my eyes. And that was the first time that a teacher actually connected with me. She let me know that she was genuine in regards to her purpose and her position and her role in my life. And I needed that. So in the fifth grade, I didn't go to the office not one time. So she was instrumental in really supporting me in regards to like making that change and that transition to becoming a better version of myself as an individual.
That's terrific. Yeah, it's amazing what one person can do,
right?
To be able to shift that perspective, but just by acknowledging who you were and are as a person, that's awesome that she was able to do that for you.
Yeah.
Maybe let's shift gears a little bit. So you then were able to, obviously were able to start doing better in school, I'm sure, and were able to make it to playing sports and winning the NFL. What happened? Well, did you? Let's see. How do I want to say this? What prompted you when you finally you've left that NFL, and now what prompted you to start doing things like this, speaking on podcasts and being able to talk with other young people?
I mean, really what it was, there were so many people that actually helped me along the way in my journey. And Ms. Williams, she was the first person. Okay, so I'm gonna give you a quick snapshot. So you have Ms. Williams in the fifth grade, right? And so I moved to the sixth grade. And so in sixth grade, I started playing football for the first time. People told me I couldn't play football. I'm too small. I'm too skinny. I got a big head. I cry all the time. I'm not good enough. I'm not fast enough. I'm not cute enough. I'm like, dude, you wear a helmet anyway. What does cute have to do with it? And so I'm trying to figure life out. But I had this fascination with the game of football. And so sixth grade played Little League football, seventh grade played on the B team, eighth grade played on the B team. But in the eighth grade, I went through this transition where my mom and my dad got divorced. And so when I think about like my life, Gloria, there was so much I had to overcome in regards to get to where I actually am right now. So you think about that transition from the fourth grade to the fifth grade, right? No, actually the third grade to the fourth grade, moving from the inner city to a suburb, right? Then you think about the transition from going from fourth grade to fifth grade, where I'm less than a person. Then in the sixth grade, like you said, middle school, you're trying to really identify and find yourself. And you're just, everything else is still going on. Then get to the eighth grade, my parents get divorced. I'm feeling less than the person. My parents are divorced. Family structure is broken. I connect with my next mentor, Coach Dennis Brantley, who I connected with through the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. He invited me to a Bible study. I'm like, Coach, I'm not coming to a Bible study. I said, I have the Bible study at 6:30 in the morning. I'm not getting up early to come to a Bible study. He's like, Tyrone, if you come to the Bible study, dude, you would get free donuts and orange juice. I was like, hey, man, sign me up. I'm in, right? And I had no idea that donuts and orange juice would change my life. And so here it is. I connect with Coach Dennis Brantley. My parents are going through a divorce. I'm feeling less than a person, but he was good. He was a good coach. He didn't yell. He didn't scream. He didn't use obscene language. He was a good motivator. He worked hard. I saw how he interacted with his family. And so I saw this from a distance and I was like, I want that. And so I connected with Coach Dennis Brantley. And to this day, we talk at least once a week.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Every major decision I made in my life, I've always conferred with him. And so I have Coach Dennis Brantley, who was instrumental in my life as an eighth grader. Then he moved to the high school I eventually started going to. And I had my teacher, Ms. Burnett, who was my biology teacher in the 10th grade. I had Mr. Price, who was my math teacher in the 11th grade. And I had other coaches, Coach Tom Henderson. Then Coach Brantley comes over to the high school. Then I played so well my senior year at Willow Ridge High School as a one-year starter. I played so well my senior year. I had 50 Division I offers: Baylor, Ohio State, Temple, TCU, Rice, UNLV. Wow. And all along, Coach Brantley was really instrumental in encouraging me and motivating me and inspiring me, because he saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. But he saw that I was committed to work hard, right? You can't control how hard somebody works. The individual has to do that themselves. And so Coach Brantley was really instrumental in everything that I did for the most part. And I forgot to say as well, I'm sorry, that even in the 10th grade when I was homeless, mom and dad got divorced. I'm staying with dad. Dad's a truck driver. Dad loses his job, right? In the 10th grade, I'm at my friend's Cleveland Landhart house. We called him Smokey. His mom cooked the best food, so that's why I hung out in her house. And my dad had lost his job, and we were homeless. And I told Miss Patricia Landhart, what was going on. And when my dad came to pick me up one day, Miss Patricia Landhart in the 10th grade, she went to my father and told my father, Tyrone told me that you lost the house. You guys are staying place to place, right?
Yeah.
She said, why don't you let Tyrone come and stay with me?
Oh, wow.
She said, let Tyrone come and stay with me now. Just think about this. She said, let Tyrone come and stay with me. She was single, had 2 jobs, and 3 kids.
Wow.
And she took me in for right at 2 years. She kept me on her insurance until I finished college at Baylor in 1995.
Wow.
And so in regards to my work, and even when I was at Baylor, I had a mentor, Walter Abercrombie, who was a former NFL player, former first-round draft pick. And he could relate to me being in college. I was a first-generational student to go to college. Nobody in my family ever went to college. He was first generation. I could connect with him. He was an African-American male that was an athlete, and I met with him once a week for 1 hour, and I cried out to him in regards to everything I dealt with and was going through. But he supported me in that moment like everybody else. And so when I developed this program, First and Goal Inc., and the passion to support other people, it came from the fact that so many people helped me, right? So many people helped me, so I feel it's my due diligence to do the same. Yeah. I think it's my duty to do likewise, to be an encouragement and guidance to all those individuals who need help and support. So that's why I'm excited, I'm thankful, and I'm geeked to do the work.
That's fantastic. Yeah, it's a blessing to know that so many people blessed your life in that
Yeah,
way, and being able to help you out, that you can now pay it forward. So that's,
right.
yeah, that's so important. What, tell me about your program. What do you do? And I know we'll probably deal with, as we're recording this, we're still in the middle of our lovely pandemic. So I know you probably
Right.
can't be as outgoing possibly as you were maybe in the past, but
Right.
but tell me a little bit about the program in particular, and what do you do for kids?
And so basically with First and Go Inc., we basically do group mentoring. So based how those other individuals really supported me, that's what we do in turn. We actually do group mentoring programs. We talk to students about choices, decisions, purpose, self-awareness, setting goals, conflict resolution. And our goal is to really help them to become a better version of themselves.
Mm,
Think about that. I mean, because when you think about life, all behaviors are learned behaviors. And
right.
so how can we help support these students based on all the learned behaviors that they actually have that may not necessarily be right, but at the same time, they may hold them back from succeeding in life.
Mm,
So we give them another narrative in regards to how to approach life. So based on whatever specific topic of focus that we cover,
mhm,
right? And we talk to them about how can this apply to your life, and based on your thinking, how have you typically thought or processed these situations?
mm,
And based on their response, we'll help them redirect their thinking in regards to knowing that there is a better way.
that's
And so
awesome.
when I think about, giving is receiving, turn inside out, because so many people gave to me in regards to me being where I am. So I think as I do this to give back, and our primary program with First and Go Inc. is our Care and Share mentoring program. We've been in existence for almost 20 years in October,
Wow.
but we have multiple programs, Gloria, but our primary program is our group mentoring program. And what we're doing now, we're doing virtual mentoring, where we're doing virtual group mentoring programs and connecting with students, not only in local school districts here in Houston, but
Mhm.
we're doing work with students across the nation right now. And so we're trying to figure out how to even like level set it to even just bring more depth and support, because there are so many young people that need support and assistance.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to ask you, is how are you doing it now? So if you were doing it virtually, do you work directly with schools in getting this program, or is
Yeah,
it?
we work directly with schools.
Okay.
So say a school, we'll partner with a school where a school actually like they may have discretionary funds they can actually use to bring us in to provide our service. Or
Mm,
we've actually partnered with schools and school districts to actually write grants.
okay.
And we even have people that have actually like donated money to our organization to actually adopt schools to provide service for schools that may not actually have the funding.
Mm,
And as you can imagine, there are more schools that don't have the funding that do have the funding. And most of those schools that don't have the funding, they have the greatest need.
yeah.
And so that's why, we've created a donor base and platform for people to actually give towards the work on our website to really support the number of students out there that really need this great work that we offer.
That's awesome. What is the website that?
The website is teamfirstandgoal.org. It's TEAMFIRSTANDGOAL.org.
Okay. Awesome.
Yes, Team First and Goal.
Good. Well, I'll definitely have that in the show notes as well. But that way, if anyone out there listening wants to be able to
Definitely.
contribute and help you out, I want to make it easy for them. Um, Wanted to also talk to you about, this year, like I say, it's been crazy with the pandemic, but it's also, um, well, I feel that this is a really good opportunity for people to start really focusing in on what's important
Mm-hmm.
in our lives, which is, helping young people in particular.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that in particular, there's also been the Black Lives Matter has really gotten to be much more of the forefront ever since the horrible murder of George Floyd earlier this year.
Right.
So well, first of all, I mean, how does your organization deal with that, or are you dealing with that? Because I do think that
Mm-hmm.
this is something that really has been ignored in a lot of senses in a lot of different ways, and
Mm-hmm.
by people my skin color in particular. And I know that if we're ever going to be able to come together as a country,
Right.
as a planet is that we
Right.
all have to realize that we are all the same. We're all human beings underneath,
Right.
no matter what we look like. So how has this movement affected you and your organization?
Man, when I think everything that actually happened and occurred with George Floyd, I think about, how much work and healing and support that our country need, like as a whole. And so to think about, here it is, I'm an African American, so I'm a Black male, you're a white woman. We're actually sitting here, we're actually talking and having this conversation in regards to how can we make the world better. I think, what you do, you provide a platform for voices to be heard. So I commend you for that, Gloria. And when I think about the impact that it has actually had on the work that I do with First and Goal Inc. and the community, I think about how much more I need to do and we need to do in regards to the work that we do with First and Goal Inc. And one of the things that we're actually going to be launching over the next month is a program called I Matter. And to remind students of color, to remind students that are underrepresented, to remind students that are in impoverished situations that, it can and will be better, right? But I need you to understand and know that you matter. But it's going to take, people like yourself, people like me that are intentional about making a difference to support underrepresented students and minorities. And that's pretty much what really has been about. When you think about like the Black community, they've been underrepresented for like a long time.
Yeah.
I can so relate based on everything I've dealt with and went through as a man, and even today. And so anything that I can do to help support any student or minority or individual to really see and know that they matter, that's the goal for the I Matter program. Because my mom, think about this. My mom didn't finish middle school, but she told me that I mattered. She said, Tyrone, although, things didn't work out well for me, I truly believe that God has a purpose and the plan for you in your life. You matter, son. But it took her saying that, but it took other people supporting me in my journey, like Ms. Williams, like Coach Brantley, all right, like Ms. Burnett, like Mr. Price, like Ms. Patricia Landhart, like Walter Abercrombie, Alan Rice, Pastor Ralph Douglas West. I could go on and on and on about people who've actually supported me in my journey to get to where I am today to do the work that I do. So I think it's really about letting individuals know that feel less than that you matter, that you matter. And I think the thing that has to continue to happen is that there has to be those conversations like you and I actually having, so people can actually have a deeper understanding about what needs to happen and what needs to take place in regards to healing our communities, healing our cities, and healing our lands. And then having like more so like even you having conversations with people that that are white that may not understand, systematic racism, right?
Yeah.
They may not understand. I mean, because not every person that's white has pretty much been in a place where you get pulled over, you wonder what's going to happen. You wonder, is everything going to go okay? Right? I remember when when I was playing NFL, there was this dream car that I wanted to get. And so I got the car and I was driving the car, not where I stay now, but on the other side of town, like right across the tracks, visiting family members.
Right.
Police officer pulled me over at night. I'm nervous.
Yeah.
I'm nervous because number one, why are you pulling me over? I wasn't speeding.
Right.
I just paid for my tags. My tags are up to date. But I'm like a little antsy.
Sure.
Everybody know how to relate to a situation like that.
Yeah.
Right. And so when you think about that, it's about, how can you actually have conversations with people so they can have a deeper understanding to know about, what, Blacks have dealt with for like a long time. And I think that's coming out right now. But I think there's a lot of work that still needs to be done.
Yeah. And I think that it is important for us to have conversations like this and to keep doing it, because I know that it seems like here in the United States, especially, something will happen and we'll be focused on it, but then something else will happen. And then, so it's like when you're watching television, you get distracted and, or like the old cartoon, my dog, Squirrel. you know.
Right,
And it's like
right,
you focus on something else, but this is so
right,
important. We need to keep the focus on it because, yeah, I mean, I was having a conversation with someone that I know, and sharing with them what I had read on social media, that you know, like a Black man like yourself, that he had to walk in his neighborhood with his daughter and the dog, because if he was just walking alone in his neighborhood where he lives,
right,
he would be, you know, come under suspicion. But so
right.
he made sure that he was doing that. And I said, can you imagine living like that? And you know, my friend was like, no, that seems crazy. I'm like, well, that's what people
Yeah.
are going through all the
It's
time,
a
and we
reality.
don't
Yeah.
understand that. We
Right.
It seems crazy to us. So anyway, um,
And can I ask you something? Like when you said that, like, where did the conversation go after that?
yeah.
What did you got? Where did the conversation go after that when you said that to her?
Well, I try to say, you know, can you just, you know, try to imagine and put yourself in that person's shoes and try to think about what that might be like, because that is, I think, how we can start doing. I mean, even if it's hard to imagine, you've got to be able to
Right.
try so that we can try to understand and
Mm-hmm.
talk to more people
Yeah.
like yourself to get information.
Good stuff.
What advice would you have for, like, for, you know, so say I was having a conversation like that, what should I say? So I'm going to ask you, I'm going to turn it on you then. What should I
Right.
say?
No, I think, you actually telling her to actually put herself in somebody else's shoes is like, one of the best things that you can do. But the reality is, if you never like felt, the emotions or the intensity of it, or the anxiety or the stress of a situation like that, it's hard for you to relate. But I think the key is like, having conversations in a sense. Like one of my former teammates, his name is Marty Dunbar. He's a local pastor. And once everything went down and happened with George Floyd, he called me immediately, said, "Ty, I need to have a conversation with you." And he's a local pastor here in Houston. And so we had the conversation on the phone. And when we had the conversation on the phone, he invited me to a live taping of his podcast, so we could actually continue the conversation. And we were talking. I said, "But you got to understand." This is what I told him. I said, "Marty, I have a group of guys that I meet with on a regular basis, right? And when everything happened a week after what happened with George Floyd, right? It's 4 white guys and 1 black guy. It almost sounded like a joke, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right.
Four white guys and a black guy. All right. The 1 black guy, he's a former professional athlete. 1 white guy, he's an attorney. 1 white guy's a doctor, right? Other white guy, he's retired, right? And I think the other white guy, he's a therapist. Okay. And this is a true story. And so we're sitting down and we're talking. And so when we're about to kind of close out our meeting, I say, "Guys, quick question. So what do y'all think about the George Floyd situation?" Quiet, right? One guy said, "You know what, Tyrone, man? Thank you, dude, for just bringing that up." He said, "But to be honest with you, man, I cannot relate." He said, "I have nothing to say." He said, "If I do say something, I truly feel and believe I'm going to put my foot in my mouth." Yeah. That's the first guy. Yeah. The second guy said, "Tyrone, I can't relate either, man. I have nothing to say." All right. The third guy, this is the third guy. The third guy said, he was like, "Man, you know what, man? It was 5 guys actually." Yeah. The third guy, he was like, "Tyrone, he said, the thing about it is, man, with me being a retired businessman, he said, I understand the rioting of the black people. For so long, they've actually endured so much." Yeah. The other guy said, so it's a total of 5. The other guy said, "Tyrone, man, you know what, man? I feel for your community. I feel for your people," because he said, my wife knows somebody that actually tutors George Floyd's niece." He said, "Man, so my heart goes out." Yeah. The last guy, he was like, this is what he said. He said, "Tyrone, man, my heart is so heavy because I live in a house divided." He said, as a doctor, he said, "I'm a doctor." He said, "And my wife, we don't feel the same way." He said, "I had a birthday. We're out of town. I'm trying to enjoy my birthday. We're out of town in the mountains, and I'm trying to enjoy my birthday. And she wanted to get back home because they stay in the middle of Houston in the prominent community. And my wife was like, I want to get back home so the rioters don't kick our door in and take our stuff so I can put my gun by my side." My wife, he said, my wife, like, she wants to just shoot whoever comes through the door. He's
Yeah.
on the other side, me, I understand.
Right.
As an older white man, he said, in my 20s, I volunteered in Mississippi during the civil rights movement.
Mm.
He's an older white guy. He
Yeah.
said, and I remember when I got pulled over in my 20s in Mississippi, when I got pulled over in my 20s, the cop treated me so bad because the cop knew I was helping blacks in regards to
Right.
understanding their voting rights.
Yeah.
And the cop treated me so bad, he said, I wondered how would that have turned out if I had been black.
Yeah. Mm.
He said, so Tyrone, man, I understand.
Mm.
And so here it is, different perspective, different thoughts, but yet they could relate, but yet at the same time, they couldn't truly, totally relate.
Yeah.
Only one of them, for the most part, could relate because in his younger years, he was intentional about trying to just really just break the wall down in regards to there being a difference. But in reality, you know, there is a difference.
Yeah.
And so I think the thing is about like how even in that moment, I had this hard conversation and they appreciated me for asking them that. And later on that evening, one that had nothing to say, he's like, man, thank you for doing that. And I think so much more of that is actually needed to help control the narrative and conversation. And so that's what I would tell anybody. I mean, you know, you got to have those hard conversations. And that's the thing more than I actually talked about as well. It's about having the hard conversation. I thanked him for calling me. I said, because Morris, you got to understand, people are going to receive what's being said so they can grow and move on, or they're going to stay stuck and ignorant, or they're going to stay where they are in regards to not knowing that there's a sensitive thing called white privilege, where if you can't react to a situation, relate to a situation, and it don't pretty much bothers you, you know, you are where you are. And so I think that's the thing, that there has to continue to be these hard conversations.
Well, thank you so much for that thoughtful response, because I mean, you could tell I was tongue-tied a little bit just trying to bring this up because I don't totally understand. I can sympathize, but I can't really empathize because I haven't walked in your shoes. And yet I know that it's so important to talk about. So thank you. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you for asking. Yes.
Yeah. What other advice would you have for anyone listening just about anything? I'm just going to throw it open to you know, with all of your experiences that you've had and you know, working with kids, or just even in, you know, accomplishing everything that you have accomplished. And what advice would you have for someone listening right now who's maybe struggling in some way in their life?
Man, the advice that I would have for somebody that may be struggling right now is just think about this. With everything that's actually going on due to this global pandemic, we've all had to like shift. We've all had to pivot. We've all had to be still. And so if you're struggling, I want you to think about something. I want you to think about, okay, why are you struggling? And when you think about life, we all struggle. And I think life is a process. It's not so much about where you start, but it's all about where you finish. So if you're at a point in a place and space in your life that you're struggling, this is what I need you to do. I need you to find somebody that you can confide in, somebody that you can actually connect with, and let them know why you're struggling. Be humble, be open, be transparent about the struggles and the battles. Because if you're having it's hard for you to move from being stuck to unstuck if you don't get support. So if you're the individual that's struggling with something, find somebody that you can confide in that will help guide you and support you and get you the support that you need so you can move from being unstuck. Because at the end of the day, life is in regards to an unaddressed issue that you haven't dealt with. Because I think that when you think about life, we walk around and we can actually function. But yet internally, we can have so much dysfunction, right? You follow me, Gloria? So it's like you're dysfunctional based on whatever learned behaviors that you've picked up in life, and you still kept those things close to your heart, and internally they define who you are. But on the outside, you're functioning, but yet you have all these unaddressed issues. So if you're battling with something, if you're struggling with something, I would encourage you to find somebody you can just really just be open with and share with them what you're dealing with and going through, because your mental health is just that important. You know, I mean, mental health is big. I mean, even when I think about like myself and my life, my journey, I always wondered like why did my dad and my mom got divorced? That like really affected me. And for the longest, I had to I had to go find and speak and talk to somebody about what I was feeling.
Yeah.
And I asked my dad, and my dad said, son, you'll never know. As a grown man, I was like, Dad, why did your mom divorce? He's like, you'll never know. So I struggled with that. But I didn't release that until I actually got help and support and talked to somebody. They gave me sound guidance and gave me sound therapeutic support in regards to moving from that anxious man that wanted to know why my parents went what they went through. But yet I had to be open and share that with somebody. So if you're struggling with something, man, and you're battling with something, I encourage you and challenge and charge you to reach out and get some help and support. But first and foremost, talk to somebody that you can confide in, because to open yourself up like that, you have to find somebody that you trust, and somebody that actually has your back.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so important, because you can't, trying to manage things on your own is not going to, it's not going to help you long term. You've got to be able to get support. So I appreciate this. So thank you so much for being here today and just sharing some really great information. And I know that I can tell you are an inspiring speaker, and that I know you're going to continue to help so many young people out there who do need support, and they need to know that they matter. So I'm glad you're out there on the front lines helping people. And again, it's first and goal team
it's team. The website is teamfirstandgoal.org. It's TEAMFIRSTANDGOAL.org. So that's the website, teamfirstandgoal.org.
All right, awesome. So I'll make sure you go check it out and support Tyrone's work in the world with kids. And if you also go to liveloveengagepodcast.com, you'll be able to get the show notes and be able to get all the information there as well. So thank you again for being here with us today. I so appreciate you.
No, thanks for having me, Gloria, man. It was truly an honor and a blessing to connect and engage with you as well.
No, thank you. And for all the rest of you listening and watching, thank you as always for being here. And until next time, I encourage you to go out and live fully, love deeply, and engage authentically.